A lot happens in this episode. Joel's still a human pincushion. Walkmans are still in style in 2023. Take on Me slaps and is the best to listen to while going down an escalator. American Girl dolls are evil. And with all these assertions, I still have two questions. Can you find love in a mushroom place? And if you kill off the best of us, are you left with the last of us? Hello everyone, and my name is Mr.LetsGame. And welcome to my channel. Thank you all for tuning into my channel. I do reviews on video games and, in this special occasion, TV shows. I just want to say, in case you are a new viewer, I actually did a 3.5 hour long review on The Last of Us Part 2. Anyways, without any further ado, let's go. So it starts off with a literal trail of blood leading directly back to the house that she has Joel stationed in, which is pretty bad. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, that's very bad if you have a literal trail leading there, because yeah, those guys could come back and finish the job very quickly. You know, I understand your options were limited. Anyways, Ellie is doing the best she can to patch Joel up, but Joel does not seem like he is appreciating her help. He then just simply tells her to leave him and to go back to Tommy, which is probably the most realistic response, to be completely honest. And I actually do like this touch over the game because, yeah, in the game, Joel was like so out of it, he never even said anything. I do like that he cares enough about Ellie to literally sacrifice himself to keep her safe. Anyways, she's contemplating if she should actually leave Joel when suddenly a flashback happens. So it rewinds time back 3 weeks before she met Joel and Tess, and she seems to be in some sort of Fedra school running a drill with her sweet ass Walkman. Like, oh my god, I've always loved those things. They look so cool, and I just love cassettes in the 80s in general. I don't know what it is. Anyways, she is clearly the weakest link in the class, at least physically, since you can literally see her trailing behind everybody else. And a girl kind of tells her to pick up the fucking pace a little bit. Very rudely, I'll add. So Ellie beats the shit out of her, and she gets herself sent to the Fedra equivalent of a dean's office. The guy is actually surprisingly not a dick. He's actually a pretty nice and seemingly understanding person. He basically says if you keep slacking off and you keep causing trouble, you won't be doing jobs that you like. But if you put your nose to the grindstone, then you can reap the benefits of the system. I do actually like how, even though this guy works for Fedra, he's not just a stereotypical bad male. Like, he seems like an actual person who's dedicated to molding the minds of these kids. Especially when Ellie asks him why he's even doing any of this, and he says because they are literally the only thing from lawlessness. I really do like how they're kind of humanizing Fedra a little bit in the show. I will admit this sort of context and detail was kind of missing from the original game. But you know how it is. The original game, there wasn't really meant to be sequels. Well, there was, but it was meant to be an anthology series, which, to be completely honest, I think they should have gone in that direction, instead of continuing with Joel and Ellie. Anyways, Ellie gets sent back to her room, and it is kind of cool, all the little references they got here, like the Starlight Savage book, and the Mortal Kombat 2 posters. Like, that is a pretty good touch. I'll admit, I like that. Anyways, Ellie's just about to go to sleep when this happens. I mean, I get it if you were trying to be funny, but like, come on, this is the post-apocalypse, dude. Like, kids have, you know, deadly weapons. Should not be trying to fuck around like that. Like, but I get it, you know, they're kids. Anyways, there seems to be a little bit of tension between these two, because a while back, Riley up and disappeared for no reason, and Ellie's been wondering where she went and why ever since. Riley then notices her black eye and demands to know who it was. She tells her it was this tall, lanky girl, Brittany, and she already fucked her up. I don't know, I just feel like it would have been better if maybe it was sort of like a draw, or maybe Ellie was the one who got her ass kicked. I mean, because she's literally the slowest one in the class. And not only that, but this chick is kind of like the tallest one in the class. So anyways, Riley said that the reason why she's been absent is because she joined the Fireflies. And Ellie is extremely conflicted by this, because she's kind of going to a school that's training them to kill fireflies. Well, Riley assures her that it's okay and to come with her for a little bit because she has a surprise for her. So there's something I actually just realized right now. Like, how come none of the fireflies have the fireflies dog tags? Like, I mean, I get it. They're supposed to be like resistance members. And, you know, they're obviously not going to have like a metal printing press at the ready. But it was kind of like a huge staple of the game itself. Like, I always wondered how they made those, but that was just kind of like the mystique of the Fireflies. Like, all of these Firefly members always had these dog tags on them. And it seemed like it gave a bit more leverage to them being actually credible and a threat to be taken seriously. If you know they have connections to machinery like that. Because it might mean that they have machinery like that that can make weapons. I gotta admit, the two actresses that play these two characters actually play off of each other pretty darn well. I just thought I should mention that here, because there's really no way I can capture like how well they sort of play off of each other. And I actually especially like this woman, Stormy Reed is the woman who plays Riley here. I actually think she's doing a really good job. Now, I know these actresses are actually not like 14 years old. Like, I think Bella Ramsey right now is like 19 or something. I actually am kind of curious to know how they got her to look this small, or if that's just like how small she normally looks, or if it's just like clever camera angles and stuff like that. Anyways, they use a building to cut through so that they can save some time, but they find this dude just sort of chilling on the ground here, and it turns out he had a handful of pills and a bottle. So you can obviously assume that he endgamed himself. Anyways, they take his bottle of liquor, which, I mean, obviously he's not going to be using them anymore. And then the body literally falls through the fucking floor? Like, what? I gotta admit, out of everything that's happened, out of all the stupid stuff I've seen in this show, that is probably the stupidest thing. Like, just the fact that it perfectly fell right then and there, and you're telling me the two girls that just walked over there that are putting probably a lot of pressure on the floor didn't fall down with them. Okay, whatever. Anyways, after a minor case of minor alcohol abuse, Ellie asked Riley why she decided to run away. And she said it was because she had snuck off one night, and as she was sneaking back in, Marlene found her and said that she really liked how she was able to evade the guards so well, and made her a Firefly member after she mentioned that everybody in Fedra was a bunch of fascists. So I guess there was really no venting process, but, you know, I mean, it is a kid. I kind of doubt Fedra is going to pull a long con on them. Anyways, after they do some parkour above the rooftops, they're overlooking the city, and they mention how there's been an influx of new people that have been coming to the QZ as of lately. So, Fedra has been turning on more and more parts of the power grid, which means that the power grid that the mall is on has been switched on. So they head there, Ellie tingling with anticipation for her surprise. They enter in, and Riley makes this big spectacle when she walks in, you know, turning on the lights all cool like and whatnot. They even have a blast going down an escalator while listening to Aha's Take On Me, which it was a pretty good scene, I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's a fun little scene, and it just kind of shows like the mindset that they must be in. All of this stuff must be like ancient artifacts to them or something. Which it is kind of funny, because when you're playing the video game and you come across stuff that was there before the apocalypse, it calls it artifacts. I mean, they even go to a Victoria's Secret, and they literally can't even comprehend why women would want to wear that stuff.
What?
Nothing, I was just trying to imagine you wearing that.
Goddamn, you dirty bitch, you dirty bitch, you dirty bitch.
Anyways, they find a Ferris wheel, and they start sipping on a little bit more of that Jack until it breaks down, which, I mean, is kind of like, of course, I mean, the thing hasn't been maintenance in like 20 years. Ellie then takes the opportunity to ask Riley why exactly did she run off? Because Ellie thinks that the Fireflies are violent, and if they were to have come up in Fedra, they could have done change from within. Riley said that she almost turned 17 when you get your assignment that essentially you're going to stick with for the rest of your life, and she was sent to guard the shit house, which, as you can imagine, is a house where people shit in. So if Riley is 17, how old is Ellie?
I'm like, goddamn, you dirty bitch, you dirty bitch, you dirty bitch.
I mean, I get it, it's the apocalypse, but, I mean, why did she have to be 17? I mean, couldn't she just have been the same age as Ellie? I mean, in the game, she was 16, which, I mean, I guess is a little bit better, but still, I don't know. This revelation is almost too much for me to handle, but we must continue moving forward. Anyways, they find a cute little picture booth, and they start taking some pictures together. This part in the game was actually pretty fun. You know, you got to choose like the border and the different filter, and you could do different faces or poses. It was a very fun part of the game. Obviously, they tried to capture the spirit of this, but you know, unless if you could be interactive like a video game, it's really not the same. It is a good attempt. Not only that, but they forgot to include this thing, and I'm pretty sure you can figure out why they didn't want to pay Metaverse a shit ton of money.
What's a Facebook?
Anyways, their next stop is the holy grail of any post-apocalyptic universe, the arcade. They explore around a little bit and they find a Mortal Kombat 2 cabinet, and Riley came prepared with quarters on deck. But trouble is a brewing in the American Girl doll store. Which this kind of pisses me off, because in episode 2, they established this world building about tentacles, like actual tentacles that spread underground, and they could detect people if you stepped on them. Like, why not just have them step on a tentacle and then he's alerted? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Which probably means that the tentacles thing was just there for that one episode, which really kind of pisses me off, because, like, that is kind of a major world and lore changing thing that they did there. Anyways, they start gaming on the Mortal Kombat 2 cabinet. And I mean, the only thing I think is unrealistic is that they're able to pull off all the fatalities. And it's like, dude, like, those things are, like, so hard to do. Like, I mean, I can understand Riley, because she even says that she's been practicing at it. But even then, it's like, where'd you get the information for all of those codes? Like, each and every single one of them have completely different fatality codes. Or it would have made more sense if Ellie gets beaten and, you know, it says fatality, and she's like, oh, what's a fatality? And she's like, oh, here it is, you know, enters in the combination. She's like, whoa, how'd you do that? And, you know, she pulls out one of those old books from like the early 2000s where it used to have like some 30,000 cheat codes for like 500 of the top selling games that year. That would have been a cool little early 2000s throwback. Anyways, Ellie says it's getting late and she really needs to be back because she really wants to actually study hard and be an officer. But Riley says that she doesn't want her to leave just yet and that she just has a few more things to show her. So Riley and Ellie jump behind the taco stand. Insert lesbian joke here. And Riley gives her, no pun intended, volume 2, spelled T-O-O. Which I gotta admit, the puns were a very welcomed addition into the TV series as a whole, and also into the game as well. Anyways, Ellie gets a little pissed off because she sees there's a bunch of pipe bombs all over the place. She puts 2 and 2 together and realizes that these are probably going to be used to blow up Fedra checkpoints, which Riley doesn't necessarily try to deny. She just says that they're not going to use them anywhere near her, and it's like, come on, you really can't say that. Like, it's a war. You really think that they're not going to kill an officer because they're your friend? Like, I'm just saying. But I get it, they're kids. A 17-year-old kid going after a 14-year-old kid, but, whatever. She is imagining a 14-year-old with lingerie on. Hey, she better hope the Romeo and Juliet law still applies in the post-apocalypse. That's all I'm saying. Otherwise, she'll be catching herself a statutory charge. Anyways, Ellie's pissed off about the pipe bombs, but I guess the real reason why Ellie's pissed off is because they're sending Riley to the Atlanta QZ. And that probably means that they're never going to see each other again, since it's pretty difficult to travel in this type of world. She gets really pissed off at Riley. I just thought it was incredibly funny that while she's storming off here, she punches this she punches this trash can right here. And the thing barely even moved. So it's like you're really telling me this girl beat up this other chick and gave her 15 stitches and sent her to the hospital? Anyways, after she's done running off, she realizes she doesn't want things to end this way, so she turns back. You know how women are. Anyways, she's walking back when she thinks she hears Riley screaming, and she rushes to her aid, but realizes it's just some automated attraction as some sort of spirit Halloween knockoff. So they take this time to have a little bit of a heart-to-heart. Ellie asking why Riley is going to be leaving like this. And Riley said that unlike Ellie, who was born not knowing her mother or father, Riley actually remembers having her family, and ever since it was ripped away from her, she's wanted one. And with the Fireflies, she feels like she belongs to them since they chose her. Which, I don't know, man, sounds a little culty, but, whatever. Anyways, Ellie, in so few words, tells her congratulations and wishes her the best and is happy for her. They then decide to spend the rest of the night having fun, so they put on the song I Got You Babe, put on some Halloween masks, and jump up on a glass countertop and dance the night away. And after a while, Ellie gets really sad and begs Riley to please not leave. And Riley, with almost no hesitation, actually agrees, saying that they'll figure it out. I guess they'll have to take turns who's going to bomb whose checkpoints and supply lines. I'm just kidding. Obviously, it's implied that she's going to leave the Fireflies. After confessing her feelings to her, he then gives Riley a celebratory kiss. Anyways, they start running away from this infected person, but it's kind of stupid because it looks like they're running away pretty successfully, and then it just comes out of nowhere and sidelines them. I don't know what was going on, if they just didn't communicate what was going to happen with this scene or something. I don't know, it was just kind of weird. Anyways, they managed to take down the clicker, but they were both bitten in the process. And as it shows them reeling with the events that have just taken place, it switches back to Joel, who's got his little jacket blanket on him. And it's so heartbreaking, because he's down in the basement, freezing and bleeding to death, and he's completely content with himself, as long as Ellie makes it. And I get it. I had a very similar experience in Elden Ring. It then shows Ellie rushing around the house trying to find something to help save Joel's life. And then it jumps back to the Left Behind DLC, where we see Ellie is just beating the ever-loving shit, while Riley chooses instead to just kind of accept her fate. She then lays it down for both of them. They can either Marvel's Avengers Endgame themselves, or they can keep on living, I guess, and fight it. But, I mean, I'm not gonna lie here, this is an issue I've even dealt with in the game. I do not think it was a smart idea for them to do that. They're basically oh yeah, we're going to be all poetic and lose our minds together and, and turn into zombies. But it's that's a little fucking inconsiderate. You're just gonna kind of be severely troubling the next assholes that are going to stumble across you guys. I don't know. I kind of always hated that. I think it would have been a better plot point if during the scuffle, Ellie gets knocked out for a while, and she wakes up right as Riley is getting worse. And then Riley sees Ellie getting better while she's getting worse. And she's like, wow, you must actually be immune. So, like, you must use your gift. You must use this gift and save, the human race with this. Like, that would have been kind of cool. And also, if you remember in episode 4, Ellie says that it wasn't her first time killing someone. I thought that this was going to be Riley. Like, I thought they were actually going to show Riley turning and her having to kill her. Like, I always wondered how that part actually went down. Like, I always wanted to see what it was like when they both realized Ellie was immune and Riley wasn't. Anyways, for the time being, they're just content holding each other. It then goes back to the present day. It then shows that Ellie finds a needle and some thread, and she uses that to stitch up Joel, making sure that his fate will not be that of Riley's. And then after the credits, it shows we're going to go through the David arc, which it looks like they've also dosed an unhealthy portion of religion bad into the next episode. So be sure to look forward to that. Also, they couldn't make this guy look like a bigger, we'll just call them a map. Hopefully that acronym is in favor amongst YouTube's monetization fairy. Anyways, that being said, this was a pretty good episode. I like the Left Behind DLC, but I also absolutely hate it because I hate playing as Ellie. Not at all because she's a woman or anything like that, but because for some ungodly reason, whenever I play it in grounded mode and I do what should be a stealth kill from behind, it is instead treated as if I loudly executed him. Like, I don't know if this was just a glitch or if it was meant to be like that, but basically playing through as Ellie is a nightmare on grounded mode. Because at least with Joel, you can use them as a human shield and get a few kills off before tanking some damage. But for Ellie, stealth is not an option, especially if you run out of arrows. Mini rant aside, I enjoyed this episode. As a matter of fact, it even followed the video game a little too closely. And yeah, some events were out of order, but pretty much the bones of it were there. If I was to put a number on it, I would say 7. Above average. But that being said, I would say the series is rolling along pretty nicely. I mean, yeah, you have the next episode probably dedicated to the David arc, and then the one after that is going to be the finale. And I'm very excited to see what they're going to do. Although at the same time, I also wait with bated breath because it could be a very good opportunity for them to mess it up. Personally, I have noticed them slipping more and more pieces of revisionist history into the game. If you don't know, then you're probably better off not knowing and just watching the TV show. Anyways, so updates for the channel. I'm going to be trying to get the Dead Space review out as quickly as I can. I'm almost done with the audio portion of it, and then I'll get to the actual bulk of the editing for it. But yeah, it should be fun. Anyways, after that, I'm going to have a very fun project that I've been thinking about and working on for quite some time. I'm going to be playing Resident Evil 2 Remake, Resident Evil 4, the original, and then I'm going to be picking up Resident Evil 4 Remake and playing that through so that I can compare each game and all the inspirations that have been taken from them, both gameplay and story-wise. It's going to be really fun because Resident Evil 4 was one of my favorite games from childhood. I remember playing that game when I was very young, and I probably should not have, but it was scary and also very fun. And it has also been quite some time since I've picked it up. And then Resident Evil 2 Remake I heard was a lot of fun. So I literally cannot wait to play these games. And also one more thing, just because I plug this into every video now, but I did make a video of The Last of Us Part 2. It is about 3.5 hours. So if you like The Last of Us, I'm pretty sure you'll like that. That being said, I'm Mr.LetsGame, and I hope you have a good one.